Hey, I'm Jim and you're watching Race Day, and today I want to give you my 300-mile review of this, the Feidian 6 Elite. Now, when I first reviewed this shoe a month and a half back, I thought that it was one of the most hyped shoes around at the moment. It had a lot of buzz in the Chinese running shoe space, if you're a real shoe nerd like me, but since then it seems to have exploded. Now every flavour of shoe YouTuber is talking about the Feidian 6 Elite and sharing how brilliant they think it is. But there's a big difference between putting the shoe on and running around the block a few times and doing 300 miles. So what's my experience at 300 plus miles in the Feidian 6 Elite? So my first impression of the Feidian 6 Elite was that it was soft and bouncy and just incredibly fun to run in. And after 300 miles, I can say that nothing has changed. Really, this shoe combined with the Red Hare Ultra 9 have been my go-to shoe rotation over the past few months. And as someone who reviews shoes on YouTube, so has a cupboard full of like 50 pairs of shoes, the fact that when I'm going for a training run where I don't have to run a certain shoe, this is the one that I'm going for, says a huge amount about what a useful tool this is in my running shoe collection. If I've gone for something which is a slow run, an easy run, a recovery run, yes, the Red Hare 9 Ultra is the shoe that I would tend to go for. But if it is a training effort, if it's a marathon pace effort, if it's an easy run with some effort thrown in, then this is the shoe that I've gone for. Now, I've used the Feidian 6 Elite in two different races. One was a local 5k, a bit hilly, and I found it pretty effortless in this shoe. I was surprised by my time, which was something like 17:30 at the end, because I didn't feel like I was pushing that hard. The shoe just seemed to really bounce along. I got into a good rhythm with it, and yeah, surprising result. The other one was a half marathon, Berlin half, last weekend. That race didn't give me the time that I wanted, and to be honest, I kind of threw the shoe under the bus for that directly after it, thinking that, you know, this was not aggressive enough for me. I think on reflection, this is perhaps a shoe that you need to get into a rhythm with, and in a big race with a crowded field, I struggled to get into that rhythm at the start, or perhaps my legs were just tired at the start. I don't know. I didn't get the result I wanted, but reviewing the pictures from the race, reviewing the splits, I think that I managed to maintain my form really well in this shoe, and yeah, it's a shoe that, if anything, I want to race in more. What I'm really curious of is, with this pod, the way that it lets you land forefoot, midfoot, or on the heel, how that will do in a marathon, because I think while in a half I can maintain my form, by the end of a marathon I think everyone is pretty much a bit trashed. And so having that sole that can work across different speeds or different form is something that, yeah, I really want to try. Now, in terms of durability, 300 miles, this shoe is doing well. One of the reasons that I wanted to wear this for Berlin was the forecast was wet, and I thought that this outsole would do really well. It's been lovely and grippy in all kinds of conditions for me training through the winter and spring here in the UK. And I mean, in terms of durability, the bounce is still there after 300 miles. It still feels super springy. I think I can probably take this to 500 quite easily. Though I will say that I bought a second pair to use in races. So the ones that I used in Berlin last weekend were a fresh pair, not this 300 mile pair here. Now, in terms of stability, I should say that I'm quite a light little guy. I'm 5'9", and for me, this shoe has been pretty stable. I have heard from others that if you're a bit taller, a bit bigger, that it can not feel quite as stable, can take some getting used to. So I think that is something worth mentioning. But for me, after 300 miles, I've never had a problem in it. I find it to be a good shoe. Run some races and courses and training runs where I've had tight corners, never had a problem in it. So for me personally, stability has been great, but it is something worth mentioning. One thing to be aware of is the price fluctuation. As I say, this has been hyped by loads of shoe tubers, especially the past month. It seems like everybody who reviews shoes has got on board with this and is raving about it. So the price that I paid initially was £170. The second pair which I bought, which I got a second pair for racing in, I got those for £135. But now, checking last night, it's up at about £200 a pair. So I think it's worth, if you want this shoe, getting on AliExpress, putting it in your basket, and just keeping an eye on the price. With the £135 pair I got, that was in a Chinese New Year sale. I also had some vouchers and coins and all kinds of things that AliExpress like to do to try and entice you to buy. So there are deals to be had on there. But even if you pay £200 for this shoe, I think, if this was Nike's new Alpha Fly, it would be £350. And Nike wish that they had this shoe. This shoe is a better shoe than Alpha Fly, in my opinion. So after 300 miles, I am still all on board with the Feidian 6 Elite. I think it's a great shoe. I was slightly disappointed to see that loads of people weren't wearing it in Berlin last weekend. I did expect to see more people in Chinese super shoes. I was really pleased that a runner came up to me on the bus at the airport and told me that she had run in this shoe. More people need to be wearing these. So I'd love to know, have you used the Feidian 6 Elite? Are you all on board with the Chinese super shoes? Love to know your experience. You've been watching Race Day, where I review shoes, many of them Chinese super shoes. So if you're still watching at the end, consider hitting subscribe. Cheers.